Teacher Time Mastery, the podcast made for secondary English language arts teachers like you, with your host, Becky Czar.
Elevate your classroom. The power of brain breaks and a breath of fresh air. Hello, remarkable educators. Let's dive into a game-changing strategy for your secondary ELA classes that's like a burst of fresh air on a spring day. Brain breaks and breathing room, literally or metaphorically. If you're steering the ship as an English language arts maestro in middle and high school, brace yourself because we're delving into a technique that's backed by science, enlivening, and downright fantastic. So, the science behind brain breaks. Imagine this. Your brain's like a phone on low battery during a never-ending conference call. Science and research tells us that prolonged periods of content-heavy teaching can lead to cog fog, as some people call it, where students zone out faster than a sleepy cat. But hold on, there's a superhero move, brain breaks. Now, we've all probably heard of brain breaks before, but maybe we haven't thought about building them into our secondary level classrooms too. But studies have suggested that these mini brain breaks can refresh students' minds and improve attention span. Brain breaks can be getting up to move around, doing a quick think, pair, share with a partner, adding in a quick game, or really anything that simply snaps them out of the fog by engaging them in a fun, monotony-breaking way. So there's this study that was done by Cheryl F. Morton. I'll have that linked for you down below. But it's all about using brain breaks in high school classrooms to make learning more engaging. Now, when I hear brain breaks, a lot of times when I hear it, it's with the younger audiences. And Cheryl Morton's basically saying, no, let's look at this for the older kids. So in her study, she defined brain breaks as basically short pauses during class where students got to move around and take a break from regular learning. The study found that these brain breaks help students stay focused and engaged because our brains can only take in new information effectively for about 45 minutes, and that's on a good day. So when students take these short breaks, it revitalizes their attention. Morton's research showed that students really like these brain breaks. Surprise, surprise. They felt more focused and engaged in class. Teachers who tried it noticed that students were requesting fewer breaks on their own for things like getting a drink, moving to, get a book off a shelf, sharpen their pencil, going to the bathroom, going to their locker for something. And the students just overall seemed more involved in the lessons. See, kids just instinctively know when they've hit their limit and they need a brain break. So they've been building it into their schedule all on their own for years. So let's just anticipate these needs and give them direction. However, it's not always easy to fit these brain breaks into the class schedule. Every day, it seems like we have so little time that we actually get to teach. So why do we build this in there? Why do we give up this precious time where we could be covering standards? Well, overall, the study from Morton highlights how important it is to consider students' needs for movement and variety in the classroom, and how these brain breaks can really improve the learning experience, especially if they feel like they're just getting a fire hose of information from bell to bell. Give them a chance to come up for some air. And speaking of air, fresh air is like a secret weapon for enhanced learning. Imagine stepping outside for a moment during your school day, taking a lungful of revitalizing air on a beautiful day. It's not just a refreshing break, it's an actual cognitive boost. Studies have shown that exposure to fresh air can improve our concentration, increase our attention spans, and enhance our overall cognitive function. When we breathe in fresh outdoor air, we're infusing our brains with a surge of oxygen, which fuels those brain cells and promotes clearer thinking all the way around. This oxygen infusion also triggers the release of neurotransmitters like serotonin, known as the quote-unquote happy chemical, which can elevate mood and reduce stress. Whether it's a quick stroll, a lesson held outdoors, or just opening a window, incorporating fresh air into the learning environment is a simple yet powerful way to invigorate both students and teachers, making learning an even more enjoyable and effective experience. So let's talk real quick about the brilliance of brain breaks. First, I want to talk about turbocharged focus. Imagine your students genuinely interested, eyes gleaming, diving into your lessons like they're exploring an exciting treasure trove. It's not always fantasy. Brain breaks gift them the superpower of attention, making them attentive learners who absorb information like sponges. By building in these brain breaks, it lets them know you have their best interests in mind and care about how they're doing. This makes them more engaged during instruction time and is a huge relationship builder because they know that you got their back. Speaking of them being like a sponge can only soak up so much water before it just can't take any more in. These brain breaks are like a chance to wring out the sponge so that they can take more information in. Now, not wring out like getting rid of everything they just learned, but it helps them to reset and process. Okay, secondly, I want to talk about unleashing creativity. Think creative brainstorming, not unicorns. So gamified brain breaks are they're like cerebral playgrounds, really. They have games, riddles, wordplay, any of those types of things. Your class, it just becomes a hub of ideas, boosting creativity and making something like Shakespeare as trendy as viral memes, which is a fun classroom activity as well. The brain reads it as a break, even if you're still covering those standards in the process. It's a sneaky and effective way to have the best of both worlds. Now, thirdly, let's talk about bidding stress farewell. Do you have stress in your classroom? You? The students? Everybody? Nah, not on your watch. Enter meditation breaks. The stealthy ninjas of stress reduction. Research has again shown that even a brief meditation session can help reduce stress and enhance students' their emotional well-being, really. After an especially tough and heavy moment of direct instruction, why not lead the class in a mindful minute of deep breathing to reset those stretched neurons of theirs? So really, there's a lot of joy in active learning. Let's recap some of these ideas. There's gamified brain breaks. Ready for a word showdown or some lit trivia? How about the good old standby Trasketball? Turn learning into a game where students vie to become ELA champs. Winners could earn the Word Wizard crown and bragging rights, obviously. You could be covering the same topics you normally would have, but you're just elevating it to a whole new level. Meditation, I just talked about, but I want to emphasize this point too. Close your eyes and imagine your class unwinding with a slice of tranquility. Introduce mindfulness through easy peasy guided meditations. You'll be their Zen guru after you've done something really difficult in class, or maybe they're just having trouble focusing overall. Do a quick 1-minute guided breathing or just a meditation on YouTube, whatever it is. It'll really help to reset things. And yeah, you're probably going to get some eye rolls in the beginning, but they're going to start looking forward to those. I guarantee it. Now, let's talk about shaking it up. Break the mold that learning is all about staying put. That's an old model, an antiquated model, and it just doesn't serve the brain very well. Shake things up with charades based on iconic characters or enact a scene from a story you're reading. Movement equals engaged minds. Do a quick Foursquare activity where you ask their feedback, discussion style, but they vote with their bodies in a different corner of the room. Take your class outside for the day, admin permitting, and watch them refresh before your eyes. I used to have a set of clipboards in the cabinet, and we'd have class outside along the building once a week during the nice seasons. Set the parameters in the beginning, set your expectations, and it'll soon become everyone's favorite day. I know it was my favorite day. Vocab Vigor. As many of you know, that is my vocab curriculum, and I've put in a lot of these elements into this curriculum because I've seen how powerful they can be to add that spark back into the classroom. So amidst our definitions and etymologies, not the boring kind, of course, the cool kind, why not sprinkle in a gamified brain break? It's like a palate cleanser during an elaborate feast. The synonym and antonym sorting games that we have after each word, they serve as a fun little brain break built into the lesson, giving students a chance to shuffle words like a deck of cards, make learning both engaging and effective. Pretty much every other slide in this program is designed as a mini brain break. Here's some heavy content, and here's a fun way for you to process it in a game. Here's a way for you to engage with your classmates by coming up with your own goofy sentences using the words. Here's a way for you to do it through a class-wide poll, and here's a big review game at the end of everything. So you're not just teaching, you're creating a symphony of learning moments where no brain gets stuck in the muddy ruts of too much overwhelm. When you dive deeper into it, we have gallery walks, we have all sorts of different fun activities that can get them up and moving, breaking that mold of stuck in your seat education. So in closing, to my fellow ELA virtuosos, remember this. Brain breaks are your secret sauce against cog fog. They're your VIP tickets to focused, creative, and serene learning. Transform your classroom into a space where learning isn't just enlightening, it's an odyssey, whether or not you're actually reading the Odyssey. Next time you spot those, "Are we done yet?" expressions, or maybe a student who is pretty obviously counting the ceiling tiles, surprise your students with a brain break. You are the captain of this educational adventure. And trust me, that crown, it looks great on you. See you next week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Teacher Time Mastery Podcast with your host, Becky Czar. Tune in next week for another new episode designed just for secondary ELA teachers like you.